Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So these are the ingredients that I'll be using to season my beef. Now I wash my beef several times just to remove all the blood. I wash it with some white vinegar and I also use a little salt. Then you have to let it drain properly and so on. So I have a mixture of seasoning in the container. I have some complete season, all-purpose season, and some black pepper, and also some garlic powder. Over here I have my green season. I just blend some scallion, pimento seed, garlic, onion, thyme. Yeah. I'm using my grease browning and I'm using some Chinese soya sauce. No, you can always use your favorite brand, of course. So first I'm going to be adding my powder season to the bowl. Bear in mind that you can add whichever season you like to add, alright? You don't need to add the season that I'm using. Now I'm gonna be leaving a little of the seasoning, like a teaspoon, and also I'm going to add my green seasoning. Now my green seasoning is not as green, because I did not use a lot of the green part of the scallion. I'm adding a teaspoon of soya sauce, and I'm going to add like a half a teaspoon of browning. Now I'm gonna be burning some sugar, so I'm not going to be adding a lot of the browning. But if you don't want to burn the sugar, just go ahead and just use more browning, alright? Use the browning to your preference. Now just use your nice clean hands and just season your meat. Just rubbing all of that seasoning into the meat, y'all. You want your meat full of flavor, so you have to season it properly, alright? So that's what I'm doing here. I'm not going to marinate my beef overnight. I'm just going to let it marinate for about half an hour. Now bear in mind that you could even just season it and just add it to the pot, right? So this is a little secret ingredient that I like to add to my beef. I'm going to be adding my walkerwood jerk marinade. Now I'm going to add half a tablespoon to the mix. Now this is completely optional, but I do love the jerk flavor in it, so I'm adding it to mine. So just mix it nicely. Normally I would add some fresh seasoning to the bowl, but since I used the blended seasoning already, I'm not going to be adding any fresh seasoning. But if I like, I could add some fresh seasoning even if you're going to be using a green seasoning. The more seasoned the better. But I didn't want to over season it, since I'm going to be adding some fresh seasoning when I'm cooking down the meat, alright? To the pot I added 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil. I also added a tablespoon and a half of brown sugar. Now I let it caramelize. I caramelize the sugar. So now I'm adding my seasoned beef. Remember I said I'm just letting it marinate for half an hour. So this is after it has been marinated for the half an hour. Now after you add the beef to the pot, you want to give it a nice little mix, because you want all of that beef to be immersed. You want it to get the color of the burnt sugar. Okay, so as I said before, if you don't want to burn the sugar, you could always just add enough browning to make your beef darker. Okay, so after I finish stirring the beef, I am going to show you what I do next. But I like to ensure that I mix it properly, because you want every piece of the meat to be brown. Alright, and I'm also doing this on a medium high flame. So after I'm finished coating my pieces of meat into the browning, I am going to just let it go for like a 10 minutes uncover. You don't want to cover your meat, alright? You want the beef to have a nice brown color, so you're just gonna let it go. And I'm using a medium high flame, as I said earlier, so just let it go for like 10 minutes, as I said. But ensure that you turn each piece, continuously you turn it. You don't want one side to be brown and then the other side don't have a nice brown color. So that's what I'm doing here. As you can see, guys, it is looking so beautiful and delicious. It looks so delicious and it don't even cook yet. So you notice that it springs some juices. Yeah, it releases some juices. So just coat your pieces of chicken into that nice juice, so that any part that is white, then you can get the color of the juice. So what I'm going to be doing now is, after 10 minutes or so, I'm just removing some of that liquid from the pot. I don't want all of it to dry out, even though I want the chicken to have a brown color, I don't want all that nice flavor to be lost. Alright, so just remove some of it, and then just set it aside until we're ready to make our sauce. So at this point, guys, I'm gonna be adding some hot water. I had planned to slow cook it today, but honestly, guys, I was so hungry, so I couldn't let it cook for that long, because beef so hard, so it's gonna take like about 2 hours or so to cook. So I did let it cook slowly for about an hour before I added it to the pressure cooker. So I'm just cover it on a medium low flame and let it cook for an hour. Now after an hour, I added it to my pressure cooker, and I'm gonna let it pressure for about 15 minutes. Now everybody pressure cooker varies, okay? So after it has been fully pressured, I am going to be adding that nice juice that I removed from the pot earlier, and I'm gonna be using some warm water to just rinse the bowl, alright, just to get all of that nice flavor out. So now I'm going to be adding some fresh seasoning, some tomato, some garlic, some thyme, carrot, onion, scallion, ginger, all of them nice seasoning there. But I don't like to add a whole lot of seasoning to my food, especially like when I use the blended green seasoning already. My stomach cannot manage all of that seasoning, so just add the seasoning to your preference. I'm adding the leftover seasoning to the pot, and I'm gonna be adding some tomato ketchup. No, that is completely optional. I'm adding like a tablespoon of tomato ketchup. Now just give it a nice little mix, just when you add the ingredients, just mix as you go along, just for it to be fully incorporated, with all the ingredients. Alright, now you're gonna give it a taste test, of course, to see if it reaches your desired taste. Since we burned the sugar earlier, if you want to add like a teaspoon of brown sugar, or if you don't want to add it, then don't add it, y'all. So in the beginning, after I finished pressuring the beef, I did not show you how tender the meat is, so this is the point that I'm showing it to you. So you want to ensure that your beef is tender. You don't want to cook no tough meat. Give your family, guys. So this is the first time I am adding some salt to the recipe. Now if I had tasted and it didn't need any salt, then I wouldn't add it. Alright, so I'm just adding some salt. You can add any other ingredient you want to add, and if your meat still needed a browner color, then you could always add a little bit more browning or some dark soya sauce. Now at this point, my meat is almost fully cooked, so I'm just gonna cover the pot and let it simmer for about 15 to 20 more minutes. So at this point, my meat is all done. It is looking so juicy and delicious. Now if you enjoy the recipe, remember to give me a thumbs up, share the recipe, guys. It do help my channel to grow. And if you're new here, please subscribe and join the family, and also turn on all notification so you never miss another upload. So I'm just gonna share some, and then I'll let you see how it looks. So it is looking so juicy and delicious. If you try the recipe, comment down below and give me your feedback. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.